This is Barry Zalma speaking for Claim School Incorporated's blog, Zalma on Insurance. Today, we're going to take a little change of pace and talk about a bit of fiction. How a laid-off worker innocently became a fraud perpetrator in a Thieves Compensation scheme. The story that follows is fiction. It's based, however, on a true situation faced by employers and workers' compensation insurers in California, where I live, and probably in every other state in the United States. Ralph was a good employee. He arrived for work every day on time. He did his job 8 hours a day and never goofed off. He was a loyal employee. His diligence got him raises and promotions. But in December of 2022, Ralph's boss came to him and said regretfully, "The market fall has hit me hard. I can't afford to keep paying you. You're laid off." Ralph was shocked. He could say nothing. He could do nothing to keep his job. He packed up his personal belongings, said goodbye to his boss, and left. The next day, he went to the state unemployment office. He filed the first claim in his life for unemployment benefits. He was ashamed, but he had no choice. He had car payments and house payments to make. Coming out of the unemployment office, he met a pleasant man who offered him a cup of coffee. Having nothing better to do, Ralph accepted the man's offer of a cup of coffee and sat drinking it on a bus bench and talked about his troubles. The man asked detailed questions about Ralph's job. He explained that the employer was not alone. Other people were suffering just like Ralph and his employer were. He explained there was a way to tide Ralph over better than unemployment insurance, at least as a bonus to his unemployment insurance. Ralph was dumbfounded. "Are you offering me a job?" he asked. "Oh, no, I'm only offering a way to make yourself some money without any effort. That's perfectly legal." The kind man said, "I'll refer you to a lawyer I know who will help you file a very legal claim before the Workers' Compensation Appeals Board." The man gave Ralph the lawyer's card. He explained that under the laws of the state, employees are entitled to medical treatment and benefits if they are injured on the job, even if the injury is not physical and only emotional. These benefits pay weekly. Since they're tax-free, they almost will equal Ralph's take-home pay as the designer of websites before he was laid off. The kind man explained that the Workers' Compensation Appeals Board sets the lawyer's fee, and that would usually be a small percentage of the benefits received. "But I wasn't injured on the job," Ralph said. The kind man replied, You just told me how other people had been laid off before you, and it had caused you worry and concern. This, I have been told, is a form of stress which a doctor will state is a work-related emotional injury." Ralph, recognizing that his chance of finding a new job in the website development programming industry was small, finished his coffee, took the lawyer's card, and went directly to the lawyer's office that was a short walk from the unemployment office. The lawyer told the employee that it appeared he had a good stress-related workers' compensation claim. He had Ralph sign a contingency fee agreement and then sent Ralph to a doctor who did a 10-minute physical examination and a 5-minute interview. After completing his 15 minutes of work, the doctor told his secretary to prepare a report. She used a standard report form already recorded in her word processor, only changing the names and addresses of the original report to that of Ralph. The report contained 12 pages of medical jargon that concluded that Ralph, the employee, was permanently disabled as a result of his job-related stress. He gave the report directly to Ralph and told him to deliver it to the lawyer. The lawyer then presented the claim and with little difficulty obtained a permanent disability rating for the employee based on the doctor's report. The employer's workers' compensation insurer paid the doctor's bill. The lawyer received his fee, and Ralph received disability payments. The solicitor outside the unemployment office received a flat $500 fee from the lawyer for the referral. The doctor, who billed $600 for the complete examination and evaluation, gave the lawyer $200 as the lawyer's fee for the referral. Everybody did very well except the workers' compensation insurer and the employer, whose business was having enough difficulties without finding its workers' compensation premium increased because of the number of losses. Ralph received the workers' compensation benefits, which turned out to be a bonus on top of his unemployment benefits that were sufficient to carry him into his new job 6 months later with a small nest egg. The insurance-buying public, every employer in the state required to maintain workers' compensation insurance, the workers' compensation insurers, and the Workers' Compensation Appeals Board, was required to spend time and money processing a fraudulent claim. The employee did not even know that he was committing a fraud, since he relied on the advice of his less than honest lawyer. In most states, it is a crime to solicit business for a lawyer for a fee. It is a crime to pay kickbacks to lawyers for referring clients for medical services. It is a crime to present a fraudulent claim to the Workers' Compensation Appeals Board. None of the participants in the scheme, however, were concerned, investigated, arrested, tried, or convicted. The workers' compensation system and the money in the system hangs from a branch like ripe fruit ready to be picked. The lawyer, his capper, and the doctor could not resist picking that fresh fruit. Ralph was one of 15 people the nice man recruited outside the unemployment office on that day, and one of 200 he referred to the lawyer that month. This type of crime will continue. Despite the criminal penalties, if the employers in the insurance industry fail to make clear to all employees in the state that the presentation of a false workers' compensation claim is a crime, and that the state prosecutes those involved in the crime, the capper, the doctor, the lawyer, and the innocent criminal like Ralph. And if the word gets out and people go to jail, then it will stop or at least slow down. The abundances of workers' compensation frauds are destroying the business community. The cost of maintaining workers' compensation insurance or in paying benefits as a permissively self-insured as a result of fraud runs in the billions of dollars. If workers' compensation stopped, most of those people laid off as a result of a technology downturn or a recession like that of 2021 to 2023 could be rehired. It is time that the public is informed that insurance fraud is stealing money from their pockets, not some rich insurance company. People perpetrating insurance fraud in California alone steal multiple billions of dollars from the insurance industry that as a whole in the United States loses at least $308 billion every year, an estimate made by the Coalition Against Insurance Fraud. Fewer people perpetrate this massive insurance fraud than participated in the Portland riots. It's a crime performed without violence, and unlike the riots, it pays well. Rather than burning a building, The person committing workers' compensation insurance fraud merely signs his name to a claim form, submits a claim to the WCAB, and waits for the money to flow, although not a violent crime. The crime of insurance fraud has become so rampant that a task force akin to the one used to assist those damaged by Hurricane Ian is needed, but will never be constituted. Rather, prosecutors shy away from insurance fraud cases as if the officer presenting it was infected with a contagious flesh-eating bacteria. As long as it is easy, safe, and profitable, insurers and employers who are self-insured will continue to be victims, who are considered, believe it or not, as victims, to be the villains by both the public and the courts when they try to avoid making payment to fraudsters. The workers' compensation insurers and the employers that try to fight workers' compensation fraud are treated like rape victims are in the Middle East. They are considered responsible for the crime perpetrated against them, and the actual criminals go free. This video was adapted from my life as an insurance fraud lawyer and insurance fraud adjuster over the last 55 years, and is only one of the hundreds of fraud stories I could tell. The video is available free to anyone who clicks on the URL zalma.com/blog, a blog that you can subscribe to for free, and will learn of at least a single blog posting 5 days a week, and sometimes more than 5. You can also listen and watch these videos on rumble.com and on youtube.com, and if you find the videos interesting and useful, I'd appreciate it if you would tell your friends and colleagues so that they could also view them, watch them, and subscribe to them, and click on the like button or the Rumble button after you view it. It would also be useful to you to join my locals community or subscribe to my Substack publications, which provide additional information for a very small fee. Thank you for your attention.